Well, there's a lot going on politically, protests in the streets, people getting mad, saying radical things. What's it all about? The other day in the Wall Street Journal, there was a fascinating piece written by Shelby Steele. He's a writer. He's a fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution, and he explains what exactly is going on. He joins us tonight. Mr. Steele, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So it's hard to summarize this piece tonight, and I hope that all of our viewers will read it. But basically you say the aims of liberalism have changed from freedom, which was the traditional aim of liberal movements throughout the last century, to something very different, moral authority, you say, is the new goal of liberalism. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Well, in the 60s, America, for the first time, had to face its sins, the sins of the past, the racism, the slavery, the sexism, and so forth, the militarism, and a very negative view of America came into being, and America was in need of moral authority to function as a legitimate society.
Right.
And this is where we evolved the liberalism that we still have today, which gives us a cover against that shame, a way to function in America and be, in a sense, above shameful America. Thus the sort of note of superiority in today's liberalism, this sort of moral superiority. We are the good. And regular, everyday Americans are still associated with that evil past and cannot be trusted. This, I think, has a lot to do with the vitriol in regard to Donald Trump.
Yes. So you say a lot of this turns on the question of white guilt, but it's not what you think it is. You say this: white guilt is not guilt over injustices suffered by others. It's the terror of being stigmatized with America's old bigotries, racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia. To be stigmatized with any of these is to be utterly stripped of moral authority and made into a pariah. That's what this is about.
Yes. And that problem that was what was new in the 60s, is that other groups, outside groups, blacks, women, had the ability to stigmatize America as a racist or sexist society.
Right.
There's enormous power in stigmatization. It is the primary power that I think liberalism has exercised over the last 50, 60 years. It can stigmatize you. If you do anything, political correctness is an outgrowth of this. If you do anything to violate that what they consider to be the good, then you are in effect ruined. You are isolated. You are marginalized.
Right.
This is what we again see on campuses today: pushing, of muscling people aside. There's no reasoning. It's all muscling, moral muscling.
So I'm reading your piece and I'm thinking, this doesn't sound like politics as I understand it, a debate over issues. This sounds like religion. This sounds like theology. This is a spiritual battle, at least that one side is waging.
Yes, exactly. Yes, liberalism is not an ideology. It is an identity. People who think of themselves as liberals really are adhering to an identity, to the idea of my personal self. I am the kind of person who is above racism, who is above sexism. And if you take that position there that I don't like, then you are challenging not just my ideas, but you're challenging me as a human being with a particular identity. And that is why the passions, the ferocity of the left that we see today in the streets and elsewhere.
There's really no debating people on the basis of that, because you're not really talking about ideas or policies.
No, there's a complete shutdown of any honest intellectual exchange, because you are not threatening my ideas, you are threatening me. And I don't have the patience to be reasonable and argue with you on the basis of reason.
Yeah.
I need to literally extinguish or annihilate you and your position. You see the anti-Trump sentiment in many ways. Annihilate him. There is nothing redeeming in this man.
Right.
And so forth.
Boy, you're seeing that.
And because liberalism is an identity.
Shelby Steele, one of the smartest pieces I've read in a long time. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight.
Well, thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.